We have a quorum as we have Rick Jones, Susan Worth, Todd Livendale, Mark Kresge, Stephanie Friend, and Bob Hatch in attendance. That's easily a quorum. So I will call the meeting to order. First order of business is to read the preamble associated with holding Zoom meetings and having it be okay with state meeting laws. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order, suspending certain provisions of the open space law, General Laws 30A, Article 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order, imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Hubbardson Open Space Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with the right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town website. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via Zoom. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite our best efforts, we will post on the town's website, a comprehensive record of the proceedings as soon as possible. And as noted, this meeting is recorded. As noted, we have a quorum. The first item of business will be the minutes from our last meeting. So I'll turn that over to Rick.
I sent them out today. Sorry about the late transmittal of them. I got a couple corrections from Susan and Mark, and I made them and sent them out a bit ago. The corrections were to the last meeting minutes were to add Logan's last name of day and that he was a Life Scout, working on his Life Scout rank and not his Eagle Scout. And I'm sorry, that was the meeting before. The minutes that I sent out were a couple corrections. One from Susan for the treasurer's report from last time. I had the amounts that were being taken from that were suggested to be taken from the two CPA reserve accounts switched around. For the Fieldstone Farm CPA application, the recommendation we're putting forward to the select board is that 50,000 of it come out of the general, undesignated reserve account, which is kind of the general bucket, and the other 25,000 of the 75,000 we're applying for comes out of the open space reserve account. So that was one correction, and then a couple of grammatical changes that Mark suggested I made on the paragraph about the forest management plan. And that was it.
Do I hear any other corrections or comments on the minutes? No, if none, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Todd moved. Second.
Second
by Mark. And per my protocol here, do I hear any objections from the attendees?
No.
Hearing none, I will consider this a unanimous approval of the minutes as amended. Treasurer's report.
Numbers are exactly the same as last month, but just to refresh, the rider is approximately 4,200. The open space donation expense is about 250. And the Hubbardston Preservation Trust is at 13,100.
13,000.
13,100. And yeah, okay.
All right.
And I sent it out, didn't I? You had that in there, right?
It was in the last minutes.
Yes, right.
Yeah. They were in the minutes.
Yeah.
They were captured in the
And it-
last minutes. All right, that's great. Old business, and that would lead to any update on the Fieldstone CPA request and status. And the thing I have talked to.
Let me inject a comment here for
Go ahead.
Adrian. Fieldstone Farm is how we're referring to the Smith property.
Okay. How was it referred to in Princeton?
Smith property.
Smith property?
He's muted.
Sorry, I've seen both.
Okay, well, in our thing, it was initially the Smith property, but then has adopted the name of the Fieldstone property by East Quabbin is how they are referring to it. I've had a discussion with Cynthia. They have closed on the property, so it is now in their hands, and they're now obviously pursuing all the financial aspects of completing the things that we have done, like the Hubbardston open space activity, etc. From my perspective, relative to an old business thing, we had talked about this briefly at our last meeting. The $75,000 from CPC was approved by the committee, but now it's up to us to drive that home through the town so that we can gain an approval at town meeting. I guess for my own edification, what is now a step, though, once it goes from CPC, what I saw in the CPC notes was that it now goes to the select board. Do they have any kind of an approval, say, or do that just a logistic step for them to put onto the town warrant? Anybody know that?
Put onto the town warrant.
Steph says it just goes on to the town warrant. Is that okay with everybody, or is that in agreement with everybody?
And it just says underneath which boards it has been approved by or supported by. So it'd be nice to get the select board to come on board.
Okay.
It says
Okay, so like
supported
just
by or something like that.
Yeah, so just like at everything else at town meeting, they have comments from any appropriate or involved boards relative to whether they approve or disapprove of the, so it will be on the warrant. And when will we know the select board status on that? Because that's a little bit of not a little bit, that's a significant note, whether they agree with, approve of that acquisition or not. Is that something they
I don't recall
discussed?
having seen that in previous warrants. I don't think they usually weigh in on the CPI.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm not sure where'd you
Okay.
hear that.
Okay, well, on other articles, though, you do see things. Okay, so maybe they don't do it for CPC articles.
I'll give you a minute here. Go ahead. Carry on.
Other towns.
Okay, Article 21, something about the Unitarian Church roof, recommended by Board of Selectmen and Community Preservation Committee. Finance Committee took no action. That's page 174 and Hubbardston Town Report 219.
Huh.
So
So they did. So what were their words? They approved it. They
recommended by Board of Selectmen and Community Preservation Committee, period. Finance Committee took no action. That's for that one. And so it depends. As I'm looking over them, most of them are a combination of Board of Selectmen and Finance Committee. As I'm just skimming.
but they do put their status on it.
Yeah, this is she's reading.
Whether
Yeah.
they recommended, you mean?
Yeah,
It looks like it's pretty much across the board. I
So
mean,
who presents it to them?
I guess it would be us, Debbie, wouldn't it? CPC people, or is it open space? We kind of sponsored it, right?
Well, yeah, but I don't remember that ever happening or even being discussed by the Community Preservation Committee for any of the things that we passed in the
Interesting.
past couple of years,
Isn't
going
that
to the
interesting?
select board.
Well,
Let's do it.
it's only notable in that obviously if you have a significant board like the Board of Selectmen that is not in favor of it, that could significantly influence the votes at the town meeting. So is that something that gets back to us, or is that something that we should have Susan and or Steph find out how this Board of Selectmen stands on it?
My guess is, my thought is that the Board of Selectmen must have to read through the entire booklet before it gets presented at a town meeting, and maybe they
Warrant.
just go through the warrant and they go through and say, yeah, we agree with this, yeah, we don't. I
It's
don't
in the
know.
warrant. That gets
Okay.
published prior to the,
Yeah, but somebody has to like proofread it, right?
Well, why don't we just be proactive and show up and give our spiel?
Well,
I'm up for that.
Stephanie, I have a question for you and Susan. Has it even been submitted to the select board at this point?
No,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I've never, since I've been on the Community Preservation Committee, that topic has never been brought up, that this needs to be brought to the select board. So maybe the chair just does it without it being a committee discussion. I don't know. I've never heard that.
According to the CPA Act, I believe it has to go to the Board of Selectmen from the CPC committee.
So let's do it.
So my question is, has Sandra submitted it to them? Whether for,
I have no-
whether it's not.
okay, so
for approval or not.
we're not going to answer this right now, but it's a notable thing. I'm going to have
guess Sandra would know.
Susan and or Stephanie take an action to follow up with Sandra, et cetera, to only that we want to make sure that we're going to get a positive recommendation. It sounds like it probably
Yeah.
will, but we don't want to arrive at a town meeting and then decide and find out that
Yeah.
the select board is not in favor of it. So we just want to make sure that it's going to go through, and it might be just a rhetorical exercise and the select board just passes it through with their recommendation, but it'd be good to know about that ahead of time.
What might be nice too is when we, or Sanda, or Steph and I and Sanda, go, we could talk this up and talk up the one that was approved, the Habitat for Humanity. And then at the next meeting, the library people are coming back. Or should we wait and try to do them all at once in March? What do you think, Steph?
Well, we could at least maybe ask Sanda about what we're discussing right now and how that protocol has happened in the past. So we have some
Well,
idea.
I'll be talking with her tomorrow about some ice skating invoices. So I'll just float it by and see.
Yeah, just ask her.
Yeah.
I mean, it hopefully is just a very simple question, yes or no type thing. And yeah, they're gonna approve anything that we present to them. But it'd be nice to know that ahead of time. So, all right, so we, just as far as a note goes for Rick, Susan will follow up with Sandra tomorrow, and between the two of them, or the three of them, Sandra, Susan, and Steph, we'll find out what the status is on making sure that we have an appropriate recommendation from the select board. Let's see, in my discussion with Cynthia, I talked about trails. So they have recently closed, so that's a done deal relative to the ownership of the property is now with East Squabbin. And I asked about CRs, trails, et cetera. And those are still open topics, but big topics relative to how we as an open space committee advertise and promote this property to get significant support at the town meeting for a positive vote by the town residents. And so I have to follow back with it, but I asked about ability to have trails on the property on the west side that the state will own entirely. And she's confident, but we'll work with Sean to make sure that that at least some minimal trails will, along the lines of what we walked. I don't know, I've walked it a couple times. Rick, did you go in on those walks there? I forget
I was on one of them. I wasn't on the one Sean was on.
Mark was.
But Mark was. So the trail that we walked essentially with Sean, and we did that same thing twice essentially. Seems like a reasonable place to have at least one loop through that state-owned land. Mark, do you have any comments on the likelihood or any potential issues? I mean, those were Cynthia's comments, but you might have more.
There would be some hoops to jump through, but I don't imagine any pushback from DCR, since it's DCR parks. It's not DCR water supply.
As opposed to water supply, right? So
so I think they would be generally supportive. We'll just have to go through and check the boxes and let them know what we would like to be able to do.
Okay, all right, then in conjunction with that, if I recall the last meeting, I think it was Susan, were you going to have some sort of Susan and Rick, some sort of a document or something to continue to promote this property with the town?
We talked about a very brief PowerPoint. I'd like to see it go to all the boards, which means we got to get on board and get it done, or all of a sudden May is going to be here and then it's going to be the June meeting. But also a flyer like on the Facebook page, Hubbardston Facebook. I'm not on it anymore, but Rick could still do it. Things like that. And Cynthia talked about maybe some trail outings. Remember, Steph, we talked about that? I don't know how you'd round people up for that though. What do you think? Post it and then hope people show up? I don't even know the trails. I mean,
yeah, to answer your question, Bob, we were going to put together a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation that we could submit to the boards prior to the town meeting. And we already have the brochure that probably would need to be reprinted with any changes or edits that anybody wanted to put in it to hand out. So that's really pretty much all done. And I don't know what other ideas Cynthia would have for promoting it. I think she was working on getting donations, right?
which brings up
and she's working on donations, and one of the reasons for my call is we have the potential donors from the metropolitan Boston area, and I was waiting to hear from Cynthia relative to this. So we have two very positive things that I can and we'll get back to them on relative. East Quabbin has indeed officially purchased the property. And then two, we have CPC approval of money from our CPC committee. She's just looking for that kind of confidence and those kind of statements to be able to be more positive in her discussion with other people in the metropolitan Boston area about supporting acquisition of forested land. Her vantage point in this wasn't necessarily to utilize, visit the lands, walk the lands, etc., but was environmentally based to preserve forest lands to help our environment. So at any rate, I'm in a good position to get back to her with a couple major things. But as we go forward, I would think we would want to have a couple outings, or at least contact some people. Steph has had contact through our horse people with somebody over in, what's the area over there? The
Chippewa Road or whatever that where Chip used to live.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Pinecrest.
Pinecrest.
Yeah.
And that person is very interested in outdoor stuff. But anyway, we need to start reaching out, and we need to have, I think, somebody that needs to be in charge of the reaching out process. So we ought to do something through internet stuff, documents, a couple walks, a couple meetings or something. I don't know we need to do something to promote this property so that we're not going in, I don't know, quote unquote, silent at the town meeting.
A very effective strategy that Sanda and Kayla used for the playground was a single page, one side flyer, and that was up on the Hubbardston Facebook page, just saying, you know, a picture of the mock-up and that it won't raise your taxes because it's already in their money. So we should do something similar, because I don't know, it wouldn't hurt. And who could contact Linda Parmenter? Does anybody feel comfortable? I haven't heard from her since.
I'll call.
You'll give her a call?
Yeah.
Because she had that neighbor that was really excited and willing to maybe, you know, give 10,000, which isn't a lot.
I mean, now is the time. I mean,
Right.
you know, we have probably 3-4 months before town meeting, but
Yeah,
that's not a whole lot of time. And now we're in phenomenal position. The land is acquired. That's a huge step. We have CPC approval. And with a little bit of decent weather over the next few months, we could host a walk, discussions, engage that person that Steph has come across, because that community over there, that's a good sized community. So we need votes at town meeting, obviously.
We have on our Friends of Hubbardston open space list, the president of that association over there, as well as a couple of the board members of that association. So we have the names of contacts over there in addition to your horse friend.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Bob, just as a comment, I mean, you were mentioning the walks that we took on the west side with Sean,
Yep.
but this, you know, the whole town meeting article pertains to the east side.
Yep.
West side's kind of irrelevant, although it's
Well, it's a significant.
not completely.
Yeah, not completely is right. I mean, because when you posture this in connection with its connectivity to Henry's Grove, the parcel that the state is going to buy, etc., it becomes a more attractive thing, particularly if you have interconnected trails through that entire section. So
Yeah, fair enough.
all right, so
Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
does it make sense to maybe have a meeting with Cynthia to talk about plans for promoting it?
yeah.
You
All
get
right,
together with her?
Yes, I will take that action to get her involved.
I'm thinking of, doing a Zoom thing with her, either as a subgroup or whoever wants to attend, just to talk through different ideas and start making some plans and setting some objectives.
she said she has a
Do it
cadre of.
do it as a-
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Do it as a subcommittee unless you want to advertise it.
Oh, right. Well, we should advertise it. What about that? Why not? Those interested, that way we could have our meeting, and if somebody else shows up, like Adrian or whomever, although she lives in Princeton and can't vote. But,
All right, I'll contact Cynthia, and we could have let's establish a subcommittee for this follow-up here, because I don't think we want to wait an entire month before we do. So we can have, how many can we have on a subcommittee?
Well,
3?
You've already got the subcommittee that's been pursuing this thing from the start, so.
All right.
Yeah, the same subcommittee.
All right, so we'll keep that same subcommittee. I'll contact Cynthia. And what I see happening here is somebody needs to hopefully take the ball relative to, after the meeting with Cynthia, to sort of lead the efforts, make sure if we're going to get information out, where it's going to be put, what kind of documents, if anything, we're going to do. Put a follow-up plan together for things that would, and that would be a fallout of the meeting with Cynthia. All right, so I think we've talked about that sufficiently. Anybody else got any comments? Does
Adrian have any questions?
Adrian, what has Princeton done here?
What is, I don't know if they've done much. Are you
Well,
talking
no, I
about
mean,
for advertisements or like?
No,
for the-
well, I don't think they can help us very much, other than contribute to East Quabbin. I mean, that would be, what did you do relative to making sure that you had a positive outcome on the Princeton side?
We honestly just followed the paper trail kind of what was happening with the land. My husband and I were just interested and curious of, how it was going to shake out, because we know that it was such a large property and it was connected to so many other trails, and kind of seeing where that was going to, how that was going to shake
Bob,
out.
they ended up funding it through,
Sorry?
Rick and Susan froze. Either that or Rick just fell asleep.
Oh,
Rick, are you there?
They're down in the valley.
They're down in the valley. Is that a song?
I don't think we're going to hear from them for a little bit. They probably have to reconnect to the meeting.
Well, maybe Mark can comment on this. Where is the connectivity from the parcels that we walked to the Princeton parcels?
Well, Adrian probably-
The Princeton Smith property?
Yeah,
There's no direct connection, but they're not too far away.
Does it
well,
connect through the Henry's Grove?
I'm surprised at
No,
that
it's the other
answer.
direction.
No, okay.
No, the other direction is right.
Does Adrian know if there's a trail that connects them?
Hang on, I'm asking my husband here.
Hi there.
Hi.
No, we don't know much about the trails. Some of our family owns the land that abuts the town line there. So that's why we've been following the what's gone on with those lots with on the west
Okay,
side.
I'll go back to Mark then. So this the quote unquote Smith property, Fieldstone, whatever you want to call it, it was disconnected parcels.
Well, Princeton conserved a whole bunch of land with the same family. I don't know how many years ago.
Yeah, correct. There's some state land in Princeton that will now connect to the Fieldstone.
What's the name of that hayfield?
Uh,
Or Mason,
I'm not sure which.
like
if
that.
you look at the map that Mark put together for the brochure, you can see that Princeton portion of the Smith Farm.
And is it connected?
Does it connect to the land is there an actual trail that connects from?
Well, it doesn't have to be a trail now. Is it physically connected?
Yeah, it's physically connected. The Smith property or Fieldstone property, I believe, extends into Princeton a little bit, but it basically ends, if you look at the parcel map, it ends at the Hubbardston line. And then there's a lot in Princeton that abuts the town line. And that's the land that our family owns. So that's why we've been following this because we were wanting to see what was going to happen back there.
Okay.
And hopefully, and hoping, I would think that this deal that we're engaging in goes through, so I would think.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we were just making sure it wasn't like a,
So Mike, where, on the walks that we went, do you know where this connectivity point is?
Is, for the Princeton folks, are you talking about the property that the North County holds
Yeah.
their CR on?
Yeah, so you go down Lombard, and then there's well, if you're coming from Princeton, if you're going up towards Hubbardston, that's on Gates Road, and then at the town line, it turns to Lombard.
Yeah.
But just before that, there's a small cluster
road.
of a private road that has, as part of that Bentley land agreement, there was 4 lots there. And that one of those lots abuts the Hubbardston line and these properties that you guys are talking about.
Oh, okay. Now I'm with you.
it's the west side.
Yeah, the west side, yeah.
So Bob, basically where we parked that day when we took our hike.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
probably.
may have, yeah, you
Yep,
probably did.
So that's that land somehow is connected down there?
So you're talking about the parcel that's adjacent to the existing state land and the prospective new state land.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So when you pulled in and parked, right, there was a yellow house on the right and a blue house to the, a yellow house to the left, blue house to the right. And then you walk straight ahead, there is a parcel there.
Yeah.
So that's all, that was sort of our interest in seeing what goes on back there. That's all.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So as we walk down through there, after we went a certain distance, so that is all private initially.
Correct.
Further down in, it becomes a connected between the parcels.
Yeah, so on the left, it becomes state land at the end at the, if you were walking in straight from that road to the left, I don't know, maybe 100 feet or 200 feet to the left, you'll find the property line for the state. And then if you keep walking and then you get to sort of the stone wall / that open hayfield. So just before you get to that hayfield, that somewhere in there is the property line and the town line.
Right.
Okay. What's the feasibility of connecting a trail from the land that DCI would own to that property in Princeton?
They're adjacent, but it doesn't go anywhere from there.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on if DCR's purpose was more for protection or for hiking trails. I know there's some hiking trails further, I guess you'd say, to the west, sort of Old Colony Road area, but I'm not sure if you guys are too familiar with that section.
Yeah.
Sort of where the railroad tracks cross the, is it the Ware?
The Ware River.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, I think the notable point is this connectivity, and it sounds like it would be interesting to see if there was a potential, because it would just add to potential value / selling points to the public if there were a capability of extending a trail into a bigger area. But, any other comments on that, other that we will follow up with our Fieldstone subcommittee?
Well, no, I think we were just curious to sort of have an understanding of what was going to be occurring, because the lots are adjacent on that side.
Well, just in short, I don't know if you've gathered it from the discussion so far. All the property adjacent to what is owned by Princeton or in Princeton, regardless of who owns it, the State Forest Parks and Rec will be owning that X 120 acres or whatever it is on that area adjacent to it and then the East Quabbin will own the parcel across the street.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've gathered that from the minutes from
Yep, in the paperwork. that's
earlier
what
last year, I think, yeah.
And as, at this point, as far as we know, the state doesn't have any grand master plan for that parcel that's adjacent to your property.
Yeah,
Right, we assumed that it would probably connect to Henry's Grove, but we weren't sure if there were any trails there or if it was just gonna be conservation land from the state.
yeah, or if there was any plans for it or how the access would work.
Well, that would tie back to what I asked for Cynthia in a little bit of a discussion a few minutes ago.
Mhm.
There would be some minimal trail loop that would go through that property and then connect back over. That would be what I would like to see there. And I think, and Cynthia concurred that that would be something that would likely be approved by Parks, State Forest, Parks and Rec.
Yep.
Mhm.
Perfect.
What would you guys like to see? Do you have any?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, this is a better situation than, say, 30 houses or something being put up back there.
You got that right.
Yeah.
So,
So we were excited to see that the land purchase went through for the town.
yeah, but I also, I mean, I'm sure you guys would understand how, like, access to it from Princeton could be a concern, you know, being that it's private property.
Right.
You know, we're not trying to cause any trouble. It's just, we're
No,
just,
no.
No, just like balancing out maintaining privacy, but also being able to have the townspeople enjoy it too.
yeah.
Yep. Are there any trails over there in that area on the adjacent Princeton property?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. All right, any other discussion on this so that we can move on?
Nope, not from our
No,
end.
we're good.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for answering all the questions.
Okay, you're
Yeah, thanks for
welcome. Glad to
reaching out.
have you on board.
Yeah, and if we want to get updates, we just keep following the minutes, or is there
Yep.
going to be a separate thing that you guys were talking about with a separate subcommittee?
Okay, we'll make sure we get you on our contact list.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can send us your email, that way when we do a subcommittee, if we have questions about the access and what your thoughts were on it, we definitely.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we can just email the online email address, correct?
Yeah, or I
Sure.
could just give you,
Yes.
huh? Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just give you mine. That would be just clearer than I don't have to go through the state, the town website. My email is robert.hatch41
Okay.
All right.
All right, and we'll have our video on next time so you can see your smiling faces.
All righty.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right, so we've talked about that. The next thing on my list was publicity. We're all set with that. The subcommittee will work on that. Mark's shit out of luck and pilot stuff. That was great. That was some great detective work, research that you did, Mark. That's really helpful stuff. So.
Just
that
as a
was
comment,
interesting.
Bob, since you often get involved with groups in other towns, don't try and translate those percentages that I gave for state reimbursement to a different town. There's too many
Is it
moving
not-
pieces. It could be
Yeah.
totally different in another town.
Okay.
Correct.
And then that'll be particularly valuable if we put some literature together for the subcommittee to use. Any update on, I know your Mass Trails grant submitted, so we're all set on that?
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen on that until, we'll hear at the end of May or June or something along that timeframe.
Okay. New business. I had project list items, but Mark had, and I don't have it on my agenda here, but I will. Updating the website.
Yeah, did people get a chance to look at my markups of what our existing pages look like?
Let's get
Looks like
Todd on there. He hasn't been in the town report for 2 years. I think he's been.
What was that?
Todd's name, it might be nice to include him.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I think Chip's still on there.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, I knew we needed to take Chip off. I didn't notice that Todd wasn't there.
don't take it personally, Todd, it was just one of
It's
those.
all right. No big deal.
The bureaucracy grinds slowly.
All right, so what would be the next step in updating the website?
Case in point, who do I contact? Did you catch that? She was saying, okay, should I go to the town website and just put it into the open space? Or
Well,
should I go to
there is an email link there for the chairman.
So,
People can contact us.
but then it needs to be checked regularly too. Do you feel like doing that, Bob, or would you rather give out your own?
No, no, it comes to him.
Oh, it just comes straight to him
Yep.
at home. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so,
Yeah, so that's not a problem. I mean, there was another section over to the left where it says contact us. And that one didn't have an email link on it, so we'll add it there as well. But there is a valid email link as it is right now. Anyway, I mean, if I don't hear any massive objections to, or I don't know, do we want to defer this until? Well, who has looked at the changes?
I just
I
think,
did.
glanced at them.
Jeff did. I thought they looked great. Go for it.
Yeah,
I don't have any objections.
I thought they were fine. I thought it was a great idea. It's been long overdue.
Okay, looks like we have a majority anyway that have
yep,
reviewed it and have no objections. So I'm just gonna forward them on to Lori and ask her to make the edits.
yeah, no, that'd be a great thing, because I know just trying to contact, there's a whole bunch of places and other committees where I've, well, a number of places, I won't say a whole bunch, but where you go to try and find even any way to contact the committee. What was it? The one that the farm right up this Ladybug.
Oh, the Board of Health.
Handscape.
Yeah, the Board of
Yeah,
Health. You know, there was no at the, if you go to the town website, there wasn't any way to contact the Board of Health. No phone numbers, no email, no nothing. So.
And Rick, I know the ADA grievance policy was primarily your work, but it really didn't belong on our site.
It was there because why?
It was part of the.
It was
open
part of
space
the
and
update,
recreational
right,
plan.
right. Yeah, no, that can go,
But it does exist on the town administrator
right.
part of the site, and that's really where it belongs.
Okay.
So I'll make the change to make sure that Todd gets onto the membership list,
All right,
All
Todd.
right, Todd.
and then forward it on to Lori. Actually, I'll ask her whether I don't know if any departments or committees do their own web edits or not.
I think
or
we
whether she
approached,
just- or whether she just handles it for the entire town.
I think we approached that a long time ago when they said, no, you had to submit them. They didn't want other people messing with it.
Which is understandable, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That was-
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I've been webmaster for towns and companies before, but if she wants to do the work, that's fine.
Okay, anything else on that?
I'd love to see some pictures on it, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some other things we could talk about. Not tonight so much, but I mean, one other section that I could certainly see would be a resources page.
Yeah.
With links to some of the interesting stuff that's
Oh, yeah.
available from various sources.
Yeah.
I just mostly wanted to get the fixes in right now, but we can always add stuff like that.
Let's
How-
make that
how-
a phase 2. Go ahead, Steph.
I had a quick question and maybe off topic, but how the cross-country trails Have you been doing those, Mark? Making those?
Oh, yeah, we've had some excellent skiing in the last couple.
Yeah,
weeks.
I was thinking about you, Mark. No, really, as we've been outside and tromping through snow and stuff, Steph and I took a hike out into the woods the other day, and this has probably been the longest stretch of having done a lot of cross-country skiing. This has been the longest stretch of recent years
Yeah,
of
no, it's been,
pretty decent conditions.
it's been probably 2 years since I was able to set a proper track, but we did have
Yeah.
a proper
Well,
track out there.
Well, that could
And-
be
and-
that could be set up on, someone should be sharing that on Facebook or something, some pictures of your trails so people will get out.
Yeah, I mean, I I've certainly done that before. Yeah, at this point-
yeah.
at this point, we're probably done for the season, I would guess.
No, we still have like 3 more weeks.
No,
I mean, it's still,
I know what, just again, from having done this, I'm pretty familiar, really familiar. I've skied a lot of miles. The snow conditions have been really, really pretty nice for cross-country skiing, so.
yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. And kind of screws up my boundary marking schedule, but I've enjoyed getting the skiing in the last couple weeks.
At least you got your priorities right, Mark.
That's right, Mark.
I was on a call with some old poker playing buddies from Bolton today, and I was advertising your ski trails to get them out there to do some cross-country skiing. So.
Yeah. Now we've definitely had a little bit more traffic this year at Malone. A good mix of snowshoers, skiers, and hikers,
Oh, good.
and a couple snowmobiles, but not too bad.
Yep.
Especially since we've had the nice cold weather. The track has been really hard, and the snowmobiles don't do any damage really.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. That's all great stuff. The item that I had on here was just, we've sort of hopefully on the home stretch of the Fieldstone, but I think it's time to follow up, and not necessarily tonight, because we spent quite a bit of time already, but to go back to our projects list and what the items that jumped out at me as I was going down that list, Jassie's Meadow, a big project.
Behind the chimney.
What's that?
You mean behind the chimney?
Behind the chimney, that's right. I'd like to know where the blueberry bushes were back there, but they were wild bushes, but
In Jassie's Meadow. That's pretty clear.
You
yeah.
think?
Where'd they go? Or there are probably still some
any-
there.
Anything left? Any vestiges at all? of Blueberry? No.
Well, we didn't spend much time there, but that would make sense relative to why it was relatively clear that that's where the blueberry bushes were. So, a trail linking project of different properties, fix a stone culvert on Canesto Brook. Another huge topic is future land acquisition prioritization. I know just over in our neck of the woods, there's the several properties. Give me some names here, Steph. DeVico, Ortolino, et cetera. The Peters that don't even live here. And what happened at Fieldstone was a reactive thing, and it might be better to be a proactive thing. And a first step would be to prioritize our lands, looking at it from a variety of perspectives, connectivity to other properties, trail linking.
You've got a good start with the priority map from the open space recreational plan.
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking of, what are people's thoughts on attacking additional projects here?
For acquisition?
That, any of those things that I brought up, yeah.
No.
Well, we also have to, one that should be on this list right now is finishing up the Gates Foundation area there.
Yeah, and I was thinking of that as we're going down the list. I was going to add that in, so
We should put that as top priority.
that
since we
has probably
started.
up near the top of the list.
Well, I guess, I mean, given we've got a number of things already on the list.
I'm not talking about adding new ones. I'm talking about how we're going to attack.
I know, so I guess the way to go about it would be to establish some priorities and then assign some responsibilities and put some dates on it. That kind of thing,
Right.
just to,
All right, let's, for this meeting, let's just take this as a seed. And again, the top of the list would be what we're going to do next at Mount Jeff, because that needs to get some sort of finalization on what's going to happen up there. And discuss, have this be a priority at our next meeting. Does that sound good?
yeah.
Have we been in touch with the Historical Society yet?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I'm going to be attending their next meeting, which is going to be spring sometime. Don't have an exact date. And talk to them about getting what we would like to do, get their input on if there's any problems with any of the things that we'd like to see done, and also get their input on anything from a historical basis that either needs to be protected or that they just would like to see for information, and just get their ideas, partly as a courtesy and partly to come up with a, make sure that we're going to be not stepping on any toes with anything we do over there. So, that isn't going to happen for, who knows, hopefully in March they'll have a meeting, but I don't know yet.
So we
The,
can't really do anything.
by the way, in relation to that, in historical, that would link to it in historical information, that the excerpts from that book that you copied and sent around, those were good. I read those before the meeting, and that was pretty interesting stuff.
That was way cool.
Yeah.
I actually ordered a copy for myself.
Wait, I thought Rick got the last copy.
Well, Amazon said that was the last one they had. I don't know where else they had it. But
Where'd you find it?
Well, it was through Amazon, but with one of the used booksellers.
yeah,
Yeah,
this
the same
well, this
thing.
was a used book seller too. So
It was such a friendly read, the sections that I did about these Finnish folks, swimming in the pond, and that there was a diving board and a raft. And what was interesting, and I can't quite picture it happening, was the description of the owners
Canoeing by.
canoeing
Going
by,
by and ignoring them.
and going up the creek or the river.
Out of sight.
Out of sight. And it's like, you're going out of sight. Where the heck can you go out of sight there before you drown?
I like all the Finnish
It
translation.
sounded like they were canoeing up the Mississippi River or something.
well, anybody who wants to borrow the book when Susan's done reading it.
I'm
welcome
done,
to
so
it.
there's one
But
available.
it really did have some really interesting perspective. The guy going up to the Gates house, the mansion, and hoping he was going to go inside, but because they were Finnish or something, they weren't invited in. Or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know which house that was that he was referring to. I don't know whether that house at the corner of Williamsville Road was a previous Gates property or something else.
Sounded like the mansion at the top, but you don't know.
Oh no, that was burnt down long before that.
Oh,
No, he was talking about.
Well, they
another
did
big-
talk about the burn down, so that was after the burn down?
I think he was talking about a house on Gardner Road, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's downtown. Hubbardston.
downtown somewhere. but-
60.
Oh, I'll have to
Yeah. Which
read
house?
that one with a different, so,
It digresses a lot into workers and socialism and somebody named Debs.
is it,
It's very,
Eugene.
Eugene Debs, yeah.
yeah, it's Bernie's hero. So I mean, it was just such an odd book, but because of the Hubbards and stuff, it was fun. And they had a house in Gardner too, which I want to go check out and see if it's still around. So there was a picture. So if anybody want it, you can borrow it. You've got one coming. So just let us know.
it would be interesting, and I'm gonna send a note to Jassy. The name of the trail
Yeah.
behind the chimney, if it,
It's clearly the origin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be.
but who, the trail is relatively new,
Well, someone read the book.
although the old trail isn't. The old trail, I guess, is not new. The reroute is new, but
Oh, yeah.
that trail going down to Canesto Brook. Oh, okay, that could be behind the chimney trail. Yeah. All right. All right. I'll put a little more thought into that projects thing, and maybe other people can too. So we're maybe a little more prepared on attacking this at the next meeting. Anybody else have any other new business?
Yeah, just a quick question for Mark and Todd. Have we gotten a proposal on the forest management plan thing yet?
Haven't heard anything from him. No. Maybe he needs to be prodded a bit.
All right, Todd, you got an action item.
All right,
You just got yourself a job.
I'll nag him.
I'll nag him.
Yeah, my guess is that clearly he's not hungry for the work. So it's probably not happening this spring anyway.
Yeah, he probably knows we can't afford it either.
And that would be the other half of it, was that it's probably more expensive than we were hoping.
Well, so it's, I guess my understanding was it's a required, we're required to update it. Is that correct, Mark?
Not so much. I don't think. I don't know if there's any potential situation where, say, if we were applying for a grant to do something at Mount Jeff.
But
If they
just
would,
in general, is it a good idea to update it?
yeah, I mean,
I guess it was on purpose.
the way he put it during our conversation was that, really no conditions have changed at the property since they prepared that
Yeah, that was my next question.
management plan. I mean, our goals and objectives are still the same. The land is still the same. There's nothing that's really changed that would drive you to prepare a new plan.
No,
It's more just checking I'll add one. The only thing I can think of is that when I talked to, his name escapes me right now, Todd, but the DCR guy who administers these grants to prepare plans, Mike. Anyway, the guy at DCR that oversees this whole process of awarding reimbursements to prepare plans. During our conversation, he was sort of thinking out loud as to whether we were eligible, because most people aren't eligible to apply for funds for a renewal for to update a plan. But you are eligible if the property has a state CR on it, which we do. I mean, it's actually the WPR, but anyway, we're eligible because the state holds a restriction on it. But one of the things that he was talking about off the top of his head was, well, how long has it been since it was expired? They're good for 10 years, and we're out at like 13 years now or something like that. So as we get further out into the expiration territory,
Yep.
we might not be able to collect money to do a renewal
Oh,
at
Yeah,
that point.
makes sense.
No,
But that's the only thing I can really think of that would drive us to do it sooner
Yep.
than
Well,
later.
how about a grant to do a management plan for Malone Conservation Area then? Somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I mean, we would certainly, yeah, we can certainly apply for that at any point. I don't really see us doing one for that property unless we really decided, you know, that the eastern side of the property is that steep scree slope.
Yeah.
I don't see us logging that really.
Well,
We already have logged it, Mark. You and Bob already have logged it.
True.
we can attest that that's not a great place to do logging.
I mean, the only, you know, I could see potentially doing the, you know, northwest side, deciding to do a cut of some of the nice oak in there. And at that point, we would want a management plan and a cutting plan and all that. But I don't see that in the short term.
Okay,
So anyway, you know, I'll still be interested to see what he comes back with, if he comes back with something. Roger, that is.
but there's no, because the DCR has a CR on Mount Jeff, there's no requirement that we
There's-
update the plan.
There's not really any big hammer hanging
Oh,
over
okay.
it at this point.
Well, and if nothing has changed since the original plan, then it would be kind of throwing money away, wouldn't it?
Unless
Okay.
it was short money.
Yeah.
If it's short money and it preserves our, you know, it might be something to point to in some future grant application that I can't quite foresee right now, that
Mhm.
yes, we have an active forest management, you know, forest stewardship plan.
Okay,
But it wouldn't be worth a lot of money to us.
yeah.
How about just before we wrap it up, since Rick gets to write the report for the town report, how specific do we want that to get? I brought this up at CPC last night too. I didn't exactly get an answer, but I'm gonna do a draft because there were some years where it followed a format that was very informative, which I think is the whole point, right? That's what a report is for, to tell what's going on. Get it as accurately as possible. You can't do every detail. So what do we want for the open space? It's a calendar year, not fiscal year, right?
Calendar year.
Calendar year for that.
Calendar year and some kind of a summarization of, basically a summarization, you know, a top level summarization of the minutes.
So
You know, I thought the one that you did last year, Rick, was wonderful. I thought it was probably more than is really required. But whatever.
Informative.
it was like two pages or so, wasn't it?
That was like 5 or 6.
That's what I thought, because last night Sandra told us that it had to be one. And I said, I can do it. That's fine, no problem. It'll be concise, but it's gonna be good.
The one I did before, the year before that, was 1 page.
I don't know. I mean, it was nice, but maybe it was a little bit long. What do you think?
Well,
I mean, obviously the town doesn't care.
No,
If we want to go on in detail, that's fine.
Well, I think that Susan's point was with the, especially with the CPC, they deal a lot more with financial issues
money.
than we do.
Now, it's public information, so
And that I think her desire would be to see the CPC report have more information about what money had been, what the money had been used for and how much money had been used for the various CPA funded items. We don't have that same kind of a situation with respect to the financial things. So I guess I would just see it as highlighting the projects we've had, and that would be pretty much it.
Absolutely.
I think we should at least mention the 3 accounts that we have, because, you know, if you're coming at it tabula rasa, you've never heard.
I don't agree.
No? Why? Why not?
I just,
TMI.
yeah.
Too much information? I don't know.
I mean,
Don't
if people are that interested, they can dive into the minutes.
I guess from my perspective, it isn't so much that we want to put our financial stuff in there, is we want to put our activities and projects in there.
Yeah, no, I really want it to be a vehicle for what is this committee about, and what kind of things are they involved in?
Yeah.
I don't.
It almost, when you start putting the finances in, it almost puts a dollar value on it, and people start to say, well, you already have money for that.
And even doing that, it's in the dollar value in those accounts has really got nothing to do with our activities to a significant extent. They don't reflect what we're about.
Well, in fact, the Hubbardson Preservation Trust, we don't even control, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't it kind of an interesting thing that the hay money from the lands that we're in charge of, well, Parks and Rec is technically in charge, but it's self-sustaining, and that's a great thing. You know, I mean, that's.
Well,
that's
I don't
You could say that, but you don't have to give.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And then you can make a comment that the hay contracts that we oversee do provide money to support us as well as other Parks and Rec activities.
Because if I'm new to town and I read that report, that would give me more of a picture of who we are, what we do, what our resources are. I don't know. Anyway, he's writing it, so good luck. You know. Bonne chance, monsieur.
Yeah, well,
And with that note, anybody else got any other new business?
C'est bon.
when's our next meeting? Anybody
I
got a
already
clock
just
handy?
looked it up. I beat Susan to the trigger. 30th.
March 30. I already did it. Because see, that's
Yeah,
a
I started
Tuesday.
before you did.
No, see, it's written down. And CPC is meeting the preceding Wednesday, right, Steph, the 24th?
Yeah, that's right. I think so. I have it in my notes in the room.
All right.
Yeah.
So the next meeting will be on the 30th. So that'll be later in the month as opposed to, this is about as early in the month as they can happen. Any other notes? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion to adjourn and seconded. Any objections to adjournment? Hearing none.